Well, hello everyone. I can lecture and still share a video at the same time, so I'm very excited about that. I just won't be able to see myself, but that's fine. I just wanted to briefly go over the syllabus and explain some essential aspects I think you need to know about because it's important not only for you to know, because the syllabus is extremely important. Anything that's in the class should be in the syllabus. And you can take note of this. If something is not in the syllabus and yet I still require it, then you can message me and say, look at the syllabus. This is not meant or not available yet. Therefore, you would not be held responsible for that. So there is an added advantage to always looking at the syllabus. Couple of things to note. First off, this is English 101, and the section number is 11220. Oftentimes, someone may ask you what English 101 you're taking in order to get credit for something, and you could say 11220. It's pretty easy. Just think of two ones, two twos, and a zero. And this course is a minimum, and I say this with full gravity here. It is a minimum of 10 and a half hours of what we would consider lecture per week. So that's a lot, right? That's a lot. That's at least 2 hours. That's a little over 2 hours every single day of lecture that I would typically be doing in a class like this. And again, if you completed the quiz, you'll know that it's a minimum of 2 hours, not the maximum, the minimum, because you're still going to have to write essays. So this is a lot of work. This is not an easy class by any stretch of the means. So, again, you're all familiar now, or should be, with the idea of an asynchronous online course, which means even though we're not going to have established contact, like for example, right now, this would be something I would do in a synchronous class. But I'm going to be doing this asynchronously, so you're just going to have to watch these videos and things like that and kind of figure out a schedule that works best for you. And I've already suggested this. If the class would typically be from 8:30 to 11 or 11:30, you would try to do that Monday through Friday, right? That's kind of how you have to look at it. You can't look at it as, well, I could do like 1 hour here, 3 hours there. It's much better to actually fit a schedule that works best for you. Okay. Very importantly here is I'm going to most likely be available Monday through Friday. And the reason why the inbox is extremely useful is because I have actually more than one cell phone. I'm just showing you the one that I currently use. And I get multiple notifications because I have the Canvas student app and the Canvas teacher app. So I get two different notifications for each phone. And since I have two phones, that's four. So you have a much better chance of contacting me via Canvas than you do through my email, which is why I prefer this. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move on from all this stuff here. The only thing that I really wanted to focus on here is the Writing Center and the Writer's Block. Like I mentioned, if you want to be successful, taking advantage of things like the Writing Center is the right thing to do. And I'll tell you why. Um, Most students, I think, and this is, I was just looking at LMU's website, they said 93% of students said that they would highly recommend their friends taking and doing something at the Writing Center. And it's usually because at a writing center, people are not just going to look at your stuff and say, well, this is what you need to correct. No, what they're actually doing is they're supplementing the teaching. In other words, they're going to be like mini teachers, right? You need help on one thing, and they're going to really focus in and hone in on that one thing and then help you get better at it. Not only does that help you in the short term, obviously, of helping you with your paper, it one of the goals in the writing center is that it's long lasting, so that you could do it yourself, that you wouldn't need to go back to the writing center for that specific subject. So that's kind of the intention. So I highly suggest taking advantage of the writing center. And we also have a writing tutor, and her name is Susie. Susie is the nicest person I think on the planet. I'm still trying to find out whether or not I can find someone nicer than her, but she's extremely nice and extremely invaluable and helpful. Last semester, she was also tutoring in my class, and every student was like, oh, she was the best. So you are very lucky, extremely lucky to have someone like Susie. So take advantage of her and get knowledge from her, and you will learn a lot, trust me. You already know how to use Canvas at this point, otherwise you wouldn't be able to watch this video. And here's where I just wanted to briefly talk about one of the issues that's going on in this class. So, because Independence Day falls on a Saturday this year, they decided to make the vacation day Friday, July 3rd. And they told us that we cannot create an assignment or have you do something by the 3rd of July, but that the 4th of July would be acceptable. So this was an issue because typically speaking, for SA2, I was going to have it due on July 3rd. And I don't want to have it due on the 2nd because that's really way too fast. And I didn't want to do it on the 4th of July because I fear that most students will not turn in their papers on time. So this is where the schedule got kind of fumbled a little bit, solely because the day off is a very odd day to have off. It's not very typical at all. Okay, so let's move on to the course schedule. And again, if you have any questions, always go to my inbox and I'll show you that maybe a little bit later. So the first week, you'll notice that you actually have to do a lot more work than you will throughout the rest of the semester. And this is mainly because I want you to get ahead and kind of get used to the length and how long it would take you to do some of these things. I'm going to put the English 101 questionnaire, I'm pretty sure, into Module 1. That way it makes it a little bit easier for you because I realize I have so much information in Module 0. Some of which is optional because it's there to help you and benefit you in terms of learning how to use Canvas. And Module 1 is going to focus on the reading and writing process. And I realize that this one's going to be a little bit different. And the most important thing that you're going to need to know is that we also have something called a draft. And I'll explain what that is a little bit later. But a draft is mainly just a sort of outline for what you want to do for your paper. Later in the semester, as I've already mentioned, and I'm going to mention it further down, um, I've decided to do the same essay but like multiple revisions and asking you to add certain things in order to make it a longer paper. So, for example, essay 1, which will be due, if we go down here, it will be due in week 2 on June 24th, which is a Wednesday. The reason why this is so is because this would typically be week 4 or week 5 in a longer semester. To give you an idea of how fast this is, so basically, Module 0 would be at least week 1, if not week 1 and week 2, right? And then here we got week 2 to week 3, and then here we start getting into sort of week 4. So you are really speeding things up at a much faster pace than you normally would in a longer semester. I try to limit the amount of readings while also giving you something very useful. So you'll see that the readings for Module 2, these are the ones that are going to help you answer sort of the questions for the prompts that I'm going to give you on Monday. So what are borders? This is actually a class. I've just given you the first part of the lecture. Number 2 is A Very Bordered World, which is from a book called Borders, a very short introduction. And you'll see a lot of blue here. All you have to do is plus control click. Let's see here. Come on, computer. Control click. And it will bring you to the Los Angeles City College Library. You need to be able to log into this, right? So be sure to do so as soon as you can. That's going to help you quite a bit, right? And notice that we also have discussions due, and most of them will always be due at the same time. So there's a sort of pattern here that I tried to follow. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And again, the course is going to be 5 weeks long. It starts on the 15th at midnight, and it goes all the way to the 19th at midnight. And the grades will be due by June 24th, which is a Friday. And again, this is just the grading part here. You can get a pass no pass if you apply for it, and if you are unsure whether or not you want to change from a letter grade to a pass no pass, please talk to a counselor. I cannot stress that enough. You must talk to a counselor. I'm not a counselor, so I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. Okay, so 3 essays. One's going to be 3 pages, one's going to be 4 to 6, and then one's going to be 6 to 8. And again, it's going to be kind of the same paper, although you can change your options. And what you're going to do is kind of add certain aspects to make your paper longer, better, and even more academic as it goes on. And I'll explain kind of what you can do and what it's going to be expected of you later in the semester. And there will be a final exam, but it's going to be on a 24-hour basis. So I'm going to open it up on Thursday night at midnight and close it on Friday night at midnight. Therefore, you have this sort of window that you can take advantage of. However, within that window, you will only have 2 hours to complete the final exam. So you're going to have 2 hours to complete the final exam. Okay. And there are a lot of grading criteria, right? Modules being the most important. In modules, I'm going to have you do quizzes, discussion posts, peer review, and of course, to do the actual readings and to take some ideas from that. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. And again, there is a late work policy because on Canvas, you'll see an open date, a due date, and an until date. An until means I'm going to leave it open maybe a day longer because some people turn in their work late, and this is their opportunity to do that. But in doing so, you will lose points, right? It says here you will lose 10% of your grade for that assignment. Very important to know, right? Very important. You don't want to do that. It would be better just to turn in what you have rather than to turn in late. Not going to talk too much about Netiquette. You can read up on that. And then there's a lot of resources here for you to check out. And again, if you have any questions, concerns, or you're not sure about what's going on in the class, please let me know, and I will do my best to help you out. Thank you.